In this video, we're going to be installing Jupyter Notebook on a machine running macOS Big Sur. Now, if you have not already done so, you will need to install the command line developer tools before we can actually install Jupyter Notebook. So to do that, I'm going to type xcode select -- install. This will bring up a prompt asking us if we wish to install the command line developer tools. I'm going to click install. I'm then going to agree to the license agreement. This will contact the App Store, download the software, and then install it for us. Once the software is installed, I'm going to click Done. And now, on this particular machine, this is a fresh install of Big Sur, and so I have no previous installations of any kind. So by default, Big Sur does come with Python. So if I type which Python, you'll see that Python does exist in user bin Python. However, by default, Python is version 2.7 here. If I wish to use Python 3, I actually need to type Python 3, and you'll see that I have version 3.8 installed. Now, on the Jupyter Notebook website, the installation instructions suggest using pip, and when we type which pip, you'll see that pip isn't found. And that's because similar to Python, we actually need to type pip3. So if we type which pip3, you'll see that we have user bin pip3 available to us. And if we type pip3 and the version, you'll see that it's version 19.2. Now, it turns out version 21 is actually currently available as we're making this video. And if you don't do the upgrade, some users have reported errors with the installation of Jupyter Notebook. So we're going to do the upgrade now. So I type pip3 install -- upgrade pip. Notice the last pip does not have the 3 in it. That is correct. And we're going to hit enter. And we see there's an error. So why is that? Well, it turns out it's because we forgot to use sudo. So I'm just going to hit up here to get the previous command. And then I'm going to scroll back over and type sudo. And now we see that it installs. Okay, we've upgraded our pip installation. And now we're ready to actually install Jupyter Notebook. So to do that, we type pip3 install notebook. Hit enter. We actually don't need sudo for this. We're going to be installing it for the current user. And in doing so, you'll notice that there are some warnings that popped up here during the installation. And they all basically say the same thing: a script that was installed in a directory that does not exist in the current path. And so here's the bin directory that doesn't appear in the path. And we're going to need that, so we're going to copy it, because we're going to need to add it to our path in our environment. Now, to modify our path in our environment, there are actually several options to do this, and it will depend on which shell you're using as well. By default, Big Sur is using Z shell. If you're using Bash or something else, then this will be slightly different. You may use zprofile, or ZSHRC, or other setups in order to modify your environment. But for this example, we're simply going to modify the ZSHRC file in our home directory. So I'm going to vi:/.zshrc. This file may or may not exist. I'm going to hit enter. If this file existed for you, then you may actually have some other settings that you've already modified in here, or perhaps for those of you using Homebrew or Mac ports, you may also have some things in this file. But we're going to go to the end, and we're going to add a new line. So we're going to press O, lowercase o, to add a new line and put us in insert mode. I'm then going to type export space path, all capitals, equals to $path, colon, and then I'm going to paste the path to the bin directory that was in the warnings. I'm going to hit escape to exit insert mode, and then I'm going to type :WQ, and that's going to write the file and then quit VI. And now, even though I've modified the .zshrc file, our current path variable has not been updated, so I'm going to source the file we've just changed. So I type source ~.zshrc. And to show that that actually did modify the path in our current environment, I'm now going to say echo $path. And you can see here that the path to the bin directory has in fact been added to our path environment variable. So this means that now I can type which Jupyter, and it should actually return the path to the Jupyter that's being used. You'll notice that it's a local installation in the R user directory. And we can actually start Jupyter Notebook by typing Jupyter space notebook and hitting enter. This will start a server locally on this machine, and it should automatically open a web browser and point it to the Jupyter Notebook server. And now we're ready to use Jupyter Notebook.